Welcome to Keeping Pace. We're missing our executive producer today, Katie Willett, but we're happy to have on hand our coordinator, Chris Perkins, who's taking over kind of making sure we get here, that we look up to what we're supposed to be doing.
That's a neat title,
That's a
coordinator.
neat-
I'll take it. I've been called worse.
I am Darla Pickett, your host for the day. And from my left, we have Jamie Dorian, historian and recreation director at the
Cedar Ridge Center.
Ridge Center.
Hey, I just noticed something.
Yeah.
Jamie Dorian and historian rhyme.
They
It does.
do.
How about that?
They
Can't put
do.
nothing past Chris.
And then we have Donna Finley to my very left here. She's a former legislator and a retired social worker, most recently at Cedar Ridge as well. And then we have Chris, who is co-owner, Chris Perkins, co-owner of Whittemore's Real Estate and a number of other things, including his show, Now You Know,
Yeah.
and this show as well. And then we have Bev Fitzsimmons, who doesn't want me to tell everybody that she was a teacher for 100 years, but also who knows the town of Skowhegan like the back of her hand,
That is
and is
right.
such a valuable resource. We're pleased to have her having joined us this year. So what we're doing today is Chris's idea, actually, was to bring Thanksgiving
No.
to the TV show. We're going to have some antique things that have to do with Thanksgiving. Donna brought a pumpkin pie. I brought pumpkin cookies. Chris, what was this?
It's a gel salad.
A gel salad. And Jamie's brought these lovely rolls that he tells us he had to run and grab.
Donna's recipe.
Donna's recipe. It looks like a Donna recipe.
It's a
doesn't it?
7-generation recipe, and Bev brought turkey.
And Bev brought turkey.
And things for sliders if
For
you
sliders. So, welcome to our Thanksgiving show, and this is really going to be a free-for-all, but we hope to be able to share with you a lot of things that will be fun for you too. So, shall we start with something nice and really active, like put you right to work, Jamie?
All right.
Can we do that so we'll get some talking going here?
All right. So do you want me to start with like Chris had mentioned if we brought in different things for Thanksgiving, like antique Thanksgiving things that folks would have used in the past? I can start off with how they may have made bread. Or the yeast rolls. I may have to stand up. Is that going to be okay?
It's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Just give us just 1 second.
Sure.
You had, what did you say about when the actual date was? I did want to put that up front, and then we'll go on to this.
I've got.
1863.
Yeah. I have to look at my notes here, and it's right on the first page.
There
How
we
about
go.
that?
And Bev knows 'cause she was a
Bev
history
knew it
teacher,
anyways. Thanksgiving has been going on in various forms, since this country was first settled, but it became an official national holiday in 1863, proclaimed
that.
by Abraham Lincoln.
Wow. I did not know that either.
And so Bev knew it. Bev was quoting all this
She's
stuff
smart
off the
as
top
I
of her
know.
head before we went on the air. And why don't we get on to Jamie, and I'll
Yeah.
kind of look up some
Yeah,
of my
that's
other
all I
notes.
wanted was-
But there was a particular lady whose name I've got to look up who pushed to start Thanksgiving,
Okay.
and Lincoln paid attention to her finally. So I'll look that up and I'll get back to me.
So
Nice.
how far back do these go close to that?
Well, when you're talking making bread, I mean, of course, it goes
Yeah.
back to the beginning of time.
Yeah.
What I kind of brought in was Donna's 7th-generation recipe, which in itself is pretty neat. When you read it off, it's the ingredients are very simple: a milk bottle of lukewarm water, a walnut shell of butter. Let's see, it's a half a cup of sugar, 2 tablespoons of salt, 1 egg, and you whisk it up together and let it sit for about 7 minutes, and then a 5-pound bag of flour.
You forgot your yeast cake.
And 3 tablespoons of yeast.
Yeah,
That's
but
right.
years ago they used a yeast
Yeast
cake
cake,
because
sure.
they didn't
I
have the
started with
instant
a yeast
yeast.
cake.
But I don't even know if you could buy one anymore.
And I just use the tables,
Yeah.
the scoopable, but I mean,
wish-
whisking it together and
Yeah.
Donna's yeast rolls were so awesome. I mean, I've worked with Donna for years, and that was something that I just craved all the time, and I begged her. I go, I want to learn how to make these. So she came to the house to show me how to make these yeast rolls because I'm more of a visual person. You could talk to your blue in the face to me, and I'm not going to learn a thing.
And making bread really, truly, you have to learn the feel of it in order to
Yeah.
know how to do it. You really do.
And you're very privileged. Donna doesn't give her recipes
Oh,
to
yes, I
everybody.
do.
Oh, you do?
Oh, sure.
Jamie, I wanna know if when you're making the bread, your attire is the same as Donna's.
You what?
Attire.
Attire.
Well,
Attire?
all right, I got up this morning at 6. I was in my flannel pajama bottoms, and just for sanitary reasons, I changed my T-shirt just in case, because I sleep with my little dog, in case I was hairy this morning. So yeah, I think I've seen you in. Well, we won't talk about that.
I usually have an apron over though.
We're close friends. So that being said, what I brought would be things that they probably would have used from like 1910, and I'll stand up and kind of go over the different things.
They probably cooked over an open fire back in 1600
Oh,
times.
Oh,
sure.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
They did.
And
Yeah.
stuck their hand in the oven to see what the temperature was.
Yeah.
So the first thing I have, and I'm not exactly sure where to put it, but this would be a modern, for 1910, the state's 1910 bread maker.
Oh, that's it. I thought it was an ice cream maker.
Yeah, they look very similar.
Ah.
There's a little locking mechanism on it,
Oh.
and
Yeah, I would have guessed ice cream maker.
it's kind of childproof, as you
Yeah.
can see. That's probably why.
Hold
It's,
it. Doesn't seem to be budging,
Does
honey.
everyone want to strike up a little song while we were
yeah, sing the yeast roll song.
here? We still while we were.
All right, well, just take my word for it. It opened this morning when I. There we go.
Ah, there you go.
All right, there we go.
We forgot the magic cup.
I did.
The
So.
camera's right here, so hold it right down.
So you would have put all of your wet ingredients in here, like what I had mentioned before, and for you guys, you can see too. It's
So
and
that's an old-fashioned KitchenAid.
pretty much, yeah, yeah.
Cool.
It's got a great big arm, so you put all your wet ingredients in there first, and then you throw your floury dry ingredients. Set her up, and there's when you turn this crank, there's a monstrous arm in there that does the kneading for you.
That is
Oh,
cool, Jamie.
So after you've got it all so that it's all kneaded and so forth, it was all inclusive, and it shows right on the side. It's number 4 Universal Bread Maker, 1910,
And for those, I don't know if you can really see it, but it really does look like a dough hook
it,
that's
yeah,
in
it's
there.
huge.
It comes with a KitchenAid. It's really cool.
And this was put on so that you could let your dough rise after. And I'm
Huh.
not going to try to hook that in while I'm here, but anyway, this is what they would have used. You know, it would have been kind of more sanitary. You wouldn't have flour everywhere. Everything was all inclusive,
All-inclusive.
like the KitchenAids.
That is
Very
amazing.
nice.
So
Is that available on Amazon, James?
who knows?
Probably is.
Now, without that, I mean, if you would have done it the old-fashioned way with just your bowls and you got your stuff going, you would have needed a place to rise your dough. So that's what this is. It's got vent holes on the top so that it would allow some air. 2 handles you'd put, and you can imagine the size of a family that you would use this to make bread for. Top comes off. You would put your olive oil or vegetable oil, whatever, in the bottom of this. Put your dough ball in there, roll it over on both sides so it's all moist, and cover her up.
Yeah.
Let it sit someplace warm, and with Donna's recipe, you got to poke that thing down about every hour because that thing grows like a weed. So
Well, when I was making all the rolls for the church, Jamie got me one of these, and I used to double it
yeah,
and use that big one.
they're so handy. Yeah.
So how many loaves does that one make?
Oh my, this would.
Well, normally the regular recipe makes 4 loaves.
Yeah, because I actually cut it in half this morning when I did that, just because I knew it was just a few of us, and I've been trying to watch my weight.
You know, it's amazing how so many things look alike. When I first glanced at that, I said that looks like some sort of wok. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so taking them out, then it's time to put your rolls in the oven. Okay, so I brought a photo. This is the actual stove that I cooked the rolls in today.
Is that an electric stove?
Beverly, how dare you? This is a 1911. It was called the New Republic Range. It's a McGee that was made in Boston. This one, this is
That's
my
the
kitchen
neatest
stove.
I love it.
It's gas, and coal or wood. So
Okay.
it's got 2 gas ovens on the top, all right, and this one has a broiler as well, and it has 4 gas burners on the side. And over here would be where your coal or your wood goes. And right now at home we're using coal. So
Oh, really?
yeah, yeah. So and the coal the stove has been running since last Saturday. So it's kind of neat. You open the bottom, it has a shaker, so and you kind of every morning it's really loud. It's clunk 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 clunk, and all the ashes fall. And you open the bottom little door, and out you pull a big tray, and then you take it out and dump it in your ash can outside.
Yeah. Show it to the people in the camera. I
Okay.
don't know if you can or not.
So the bottom door has a large oven, so you can cook with the oven as well down here, and then above would be your stove top. So this is what I cooked the rolls in today before I got here. So the only thing, of course, with when you're cooking with things that aren't modern and set to 350 degrees, and you know exactly the time frame, it was a little nip and tuck, and they may be still a little doughy in the middle.
No,
but
they're very good.
but
There is one missing here.
I'm the official taster.
Yes, Bev always likes
That's
them
always
hot out of the oven.
So time was running out. Now,
And at your house,
Mhm.
right beside that stove, is a huge copper water tank. So he also, in the old-fashioned way, heats his water for his house with from that stove. or-
that's correct. So
Yeah.
actually, we haven't had the hot water tank on since last Saturday.
My- Excuse me.
Sure.
My grandparents had a stove similar to that, only it was wood. And on one side, there was a tank where you put the water in
Yep.
and got your hot water from that.
Yeah.
And I remember
Makes
for
sense.
Thanksgiving, she always cooked a capon, which is a chicken, a big chicken.
Big one, yeah.
Yeah.
And a roast of pork, and she put them in at night when she went to bed.
Yeah.
And they'd cook all night,
Wow.
and
Yeah.
they were just delicious, nice and moist.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Well, I had my first disaster in a wood stove. When we moved up to the farm on Hilton Hill, we got a wood stove. And for my first Thanksgiving apple pie,
Oh wow.
I ran out. I thought I knew what I was doing, and I got cedar slats and put them in where the
Oh,
wood
it's too
goes.
hot.
Oh wow.
I'm telling you that whole apple pie.
Probably raw in the middle and a black
I was
crust.
only 30 something, but it was a bird mess.
So it ended up being
Wow.
a store-bought apple pie that day.
And the only thing, like Donna mentioned, the copper tank for water, it's and my wife probably has the most difficult time with this because I'm cool with it. If it's a little lukewarm, I can take a shower real quick because
Oh.
I'm thrilled that I'm not having to use electricity, and I know that I can cook on this thing. It has little racks that come out. You can dry your clothes on it if you want. So all the time I'm thinking, oh, I'm saving money. I'm not, I'm heating the house. I'm heating the water. I'm drying my clothes. I'm cooking on it with just this little tiny bag of coal that lasts 2 days. And so we had to work it out because I was a little confused because she kept complaining she didn't have any hot water because I always thought she was taking a shower at night, but she wasn't. She was trying to do it in the morning after I'd already emptied that whole tank.
Oh!
Oh.
And
So,
I
yeah,
also
you-
understand that copper, I just found the other day, is the one metal that doesn't rust.
Oh.
Correct?
Right, you're right.
Yeah, because my flush rusted all out, and it was the screws, and they replaced it with copper.
Well, that's why they
Oh,
always
that's
use
why.
copper
That's
pipes
cool.
then.
Yeah.
I
Copper
didn't
pipes.
know why.
Yeah.
So, going back to cooking, then of course your timer. I mean, you didn't have, in the old days, it wasn't the normal type timers. You had your old gingerbread clocks, and the pendulum, evidently in my trip over, is in my truck someplace. But I hauled this off the wall. You can see how close I was. It was like 5 minutes of 10 when I threw everything in the truck to get over here for 10:30. But this is the old gingerbread clocks, and these ones were called kitchen clocks because in the center you have the little brass dial, and that was your timer. And I can make the timer go off. And I will tell you, when I do this at home, my dog goes right through the roof because it's not a quiet noise. I also ran out without my glasses, so.
I'd give you mine, but it wouldn't do any good.
Yeah, I'm really blind.
Oh, maybe that won't do it for you, maybe you need,
Makes a difference.
I think.
wanna
We'll
try
just
the
turn it till it goes.
readers.
So there you go. You knew when it was done.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's fine.
There's really no way to stop it. So
I
it's
was
ready.
say, does it go on until you get
It's
there?
got to go on the rest
Once
of the
the
show.
spring runs down, then it shuts off.
Oh, there you go.
Well, how old is that?
This is probably about 1910, between 1900 1910.
Oh my. Is it pretty? I didn't see it.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's got the original patina on it and so
Yeah,
forth, but
Is there a name for it?
that one's just, they called them gingerbread clocks.
Gingerbread, yes.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep. Now, while I'm still up, would it be
Well,
opportune to?
if we talk about Thanksgiving and the organ that's it's called a cob organ. So if you wanted entertainment after the meal, and Jamie has to demonstrate it.
Here you go.
I'll let you talk about it first if you want.
Well, I should have done some research. I have no idea how old it is, but it has these little things that look like corn cobs, and that's why it's called a cob organ.
Okay.
And Jamie can crank it, and if he does it correctly, we can tell that it's don't sit under the apple tree
No-
with anyone
no-
else
No
but me.
pressure, Jamie.
This way?
No pressure.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Oh, it's a nice sound.
Faster.
Faster, faster. You basically play this until somebody's hand falls off.
You're churning butter with the other hand.
Okay, that gives us a demonstration, honey.
Oh,
but
very nice.
can you imagine having to do that? And probably they all
With the
took
kids to
turns
do
or
it.
had the kids do it or something.
I
but-
can see why it's still in such good shape, because I wouldn't need to hear that very much.
I also have a Regina that plays the big, huge disc, but it's way, way too heavy to bring in. But I would have liked to bring that in sometime, but it's pretty cumbersome.
It's amazing.
So my father just collected stuff, and it's all stuff that I have no idea what I'll do with someday.
Do you know the value?
No.
I'll give you $10 for it right now.
Well, I said, I think the last time we looked, it was only about 400. But, so, the other thing that I brought, I will preface this by saying Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday. I love it. For many years it's been my favorite. And as a child, living with my grandparents, which we did, and my parents, we always had all of the cousins and the aunts and uncles all come to the house for Thanksgiving. Nana always made the rolls. And my mother, years ago, and I'm guessing, and you've heard me talk about the Duckworths before, who owned the store across the street, and it was a TV store
In Skowhegan.
in Skowhegan. But Joe Duckworth, who was the Mrs. Duckworth, also in the 60s, I would say late 50s, 60s, started selling glassware. And these were rooster plates. And we have service of 16, so when I did Thanksgiving at the house, this was after all the cousins stopped coming. This was when my family started coming. And I used to use them basically once a year. And I know it's a rooster, it's not a turkey, but they're definitely farmhouse plates. And the serving dishes, some are just regular serving dishes, but I use this for gravy, and as you can see, it's got the
That's neat.
little screws in the side, so it looks like an old dipper. And then this one also looks like a dipper that you might have had in your pail of water,
Yeah.
sitting on the
Yeah.
sideboard.
Yeah.
And I only brought those two. The bread dish, the bread pan that you would serve your bread in, is shaped, it's also orange like that, and it's shaped like a loaf of bread. So the serving dishes are really pretty cool.
And
But-
what's the time frame on those?
Well,
It's just 60s.
she bought them in the late 50s or 60s.
Huh.
and I don't know what they are. Does it say?
I don't have my glasses
Oh,
on.
I didn't do my homework. It says Poppy Rack, Poppyrak by Metlocks, made in California.
Wow.
So this, I guess, would be from the Art Deco era.
Okay.
But I'm the only one that likes these plates. The rest of my family doesn't particularly like them, but I love them. So,
So for as long as she's around, we're eating off.
yes.
There you go.
Well, I haven't done Thanksgiving at my house in a long time because the last few years we've gone to Melrose, Mass, to Stevens, to my sons, and so nobody's come to my house for Thanksgiving. And if I have a huge family or people come now, my table will seat 18, and I usually go to Sam's and buy the real pretty plastic ones.
Yeah.
Instead of, even though I have a dishwasher, it's really,
Oh,
that's a
Donna.
lot of people. I know. I shouldn't do that.
Donna,
It's
I
more
know.
than 18 people.
Ah,
So-
yeah.
Yeah.
It's
What do
a
you
lot.
like about Thanksgiving, Bev?
I like seeing all the people getting together. The food's always good,
Yeah.
and it's a wonderful holiday. It's the most celebrated holiday in the U.S. and
Is
the
it?
most
Is it?
traveled holiday
Oh, yes.
in the U.S.
Yeah.
And we should all be thankful that we live in the U.S.
You bet.
Yeah,
You bet.
absolutely.
If that's one thing people don't realize, younger
Yeah.
people don't often
And
realize.
we really need to thank the people who were living here before the foreigners were brought over. I don't wanna steal Chris's talk, but in 1621, when the Pilgrims came that first winter, almost all of them died, and the Indians helped them survive.
That's right.
Then the next year, there was an Indian, I think his name was Squanto, I can't remember, did you see that, Chris, in there?
It wasn't in what I read. but-
Okay, anyway, he could speak English, because he had been captured by the early people that came over to the US to explore, and they took him back to England and sold him as a slave, and he escaped, excuse me, and
Bless you.
came back to the US. I think he was a member of, I'll call it the Pawtucket tribe,
Mhm.
and because he could speak English, he taught the Pilgrims how to plant corn, to catch fish, shoot fowl and everything. And Chris, are you gonna talk about what they had to eat on Thanksgiving?
Oh, it's in my notes here.
Oh,
Is that
good,
right? It's in my.
good.
See, I can't do it. I should just refer to Bev because she knows it right off the top of her head. And I had to go on the internet. and look it
Your
up.
encyclopedia right with you.
But actually, before I do any of that, I'd like to editorialize a little bit about Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving, I think, is as good a holiday as we have.
It is.
I think so.
And it is truly a family holiday, and it is truly about the people and about food and so forth. And it is not nearly as commercialized
Right.
as some
Mhm.
other holidays.
Yeah.
And it honestly, it irritates me a bit that Christmas crowds Thanksgiving. And this year, of course, Thanksgiving, I think, is running as late as it ever does.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah.
On November 28th. So I'm sure there are a lot of people out there that get irritated with that because they want to just move on to Christmas and get the Christmas lights up and start all the shopping and get excited about Black Friday and all those things. But, you know, Thanksgiving shouldn't be crowded out. It
No, it
should
shouldn't.
be.
No, it's a time to be
It
grateful.
should be celebrated. And
It's a time to
I
be grateful.
personally don't do anything regarding Christmas until at least the day after
Right.
Mhm.
Thanksgiving. No lights, no anything. And I think this country should observe Thanksgiving better than I think it does right now.
And Christmas is so commercial.
Well, we can
Yes.
start that, you know, you and I. All
Well,
it takes two.
I'm trying.
I'll
I'm
work
trying
with
to
you.
promote it, but we get so caught up in the
Yeah.
commercialism, which of course isn't really what Christmas is all about
Mhm.
either.
Right.
So, you know, we need to enjoy Thanksgiving.
And if you think we sound senior, we are.
We are.
Well,
That's
except
right,
for
we are.
Jamie over here.
Yeah, we
He's
are.
catching up.
I'm catching
And
up.
Hunter
That's
over
correct.
there,
Yeah.
our
So
videographer.
what did they eat, Chris?
I can go back here.
Or Bev.
I'm sorry. I've
I don't
got
wanna
it.
steal his thunder.
No, well, I've got it all here in writing somewhere.
I wanna
I'm
say
not
it's
sure, but
Jello.
the first Thanksgiving they did not eat turkey. You're gonna have to skip me for a minute because I gotta go look
What
up
did
where
they
it
eat,
is.
Bev?
They had lobster,
Yeah.
fowl, fish, and some plants.
So you
Also,
don't need me to do this.
I can't even think of his name, I just said it, that spoke English, taught the colonists what the poison plants were so they wouldn't eat them, which was a big asset to them.
I bet he wished he had now, the way we treated him.
Yeah, really.
The lobster was a traditional
They
Thanksgiving
they had what
feast.
they.
Interesting.
They
Had
had,
what was
you know.
available.
Huh.
Yeah.
And of course,
Yeah.
back then it wasn't that big a deal like it is today,
Right, I'm
lobster,
sure.
but it was just something that was available to them.
Well, way back when people first started eating lobster, they thought it was just junk
Scavenger.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I had told you earlier there was a particular lady who had pushed to nationalize or the Thanksgiving holiday, and I found my notes on that. 1827, the noted magazine editor and prolific writer Sarah Josepha Hale, author among countless other things of the nursery rhyme Mary Had a Little Lamb, launched a campaign to establish Thanksgiving as a national holiday. For 36 years, she published numerous editorials and sent scores of letters to governors, senators, presidents, and other politicians, earning her the nickname of the Mother of Thanksgiving. And I bet there's
Wow.
very few people out there that ever heard of this lady
No.
before.
I never heard of that.
And finally, Abraham Lincoln, who we all know, finally heeded a request in 1863 at the height of the Civil War in a proclamation entreating all Americans to ask God to commend to his tender care all those who have become widows, orphans, mourners, or sufferers in the lamentable civil strife, and to heal the wounds of the nation. He scheduled Thanksgiving for the final Thursday in November, and it was celebrated on that day every year until 1939, when Franklin D. Roosevelt moved the holiday up a week in an attempt to spur retail sales during the Great Depression. Well, I guess I can understand that, during the Great Depression. Roosevelt's plan, known derisively as Franksgiving, was met with passionate opposition, and in 1941 the president reluctantly signed a bill making Thanksgiving the fourth Thursday in November, where it has stayed ever since.
And that was in 1930 something?
Now, 1941 was
41.
when he, so that's where it's been ever since. And even George Washington had declared a Thanksgiving, but until Lincoln, it never was a federal holiday. It was celebrated often at different times, in different states, in different ways, and so forth. But it all kind of came together in the 1860s, and a lot of the credit, obviously, she's pretty passionate about it. It took her 36 years to do it. This Sarah Josepha Hale
Wow.
was behind it.
Wow.
So there we go.
It's interesting.
And gradually I'll find other notes as we go along here. But, yeah.
They always showed pictures of the pilgrims eating corn, but corn would not have been
Well,
in
the
season in
Indian that
November.
spoke
But
English taught them how to plant corn. So,
Oh, okay.
I think they used to bury the corn.
yes, they did.
So that
Yeah.
might have been available
And they'd
because they
use
used
the fish
to.
as fertilizer.
Yep.
Yeah.
huh.
Bury the corn? What do
Yeah.
you mean?
Well,
In
that
the
was my
ground,
understanding.
dig
That was
holes
how
in it.
they preserved the corn, is that they would bury the ears of corn. It would still have the husks on it,
Oh.
deep
They would
enough
pick
so
it when
that
it was ripe and then
right,
bury it.
Oh,
and it
okay.
wouldn't
Huh.
freeze that way. And because I think at one point I read something along the lines of when, we came over, that some of the folks were digging up some of their, stuff that they had for their own tribes and so forth to try to stay alive. And I don't think that was very well received from what what I'm remembering, but I remember that they were digging up corn that had been preserved by being buried.
Interesting.
See, we don't know, that everything's so easy now.
Oh my lord,
Imagine,
yes.
imagine what it was like to just have a, I don't suppose they made pies even, did they? Bev, did you know?
I
don't
think
know.
they used to make pies in England,
Yeah,
so probably
when they
there
came
were
over
people that
here.
knew how to do that, I would think.
But it would be
but-
along the lines of bread. I
Bread,
mean,
yeah.
the pastry, I think that
Yeah.
was probably something that's,
Yeah,
But I'm sure and probably at that time of year, they'd have made apple
yeah,
Yeah.
pies, I would think.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going back in the history here a little bit. November 1621, of course, Bev had that. After the Pilgrims' first corn harvest proved successful, Governor William Bradford organized a celebratory feast, invited a group of the fledgling colony's Native American allies, including the, do you pronounce it Wampanoag?
Mhm.
Wampanoag?
Anyway,
Chief.
any way you want to.
And there aren't too many people going to argue with me anyways, but
Right.
Massasoit, Chief Massasoit, now remembered as America's first Thanksgiving, although the Pilgrims themselves may not have used the term at the time. The festival lasted for 3 days,
wow.
and while no record exists of the first Thanksgiving exact menu, much of what we know about what happened at the first Thanksgiving comes from Pilgrim chronicler Edward Winslow, who wrote, and I don't know if I'm going to read all of this stuff, but they did talk about they killed fowl. I think they had the lobster. You know, all of those types of things were included. Many dishes were prepared with traditional Native American spices and cooking methods.
did they have herbs back then, does it say?
No, it says the meal did not feature pies, cakes, or other desserts, which would become a hallmark of contemporary celebrations.
Yeah.
So,
Now, the Mayflower, where does that fit into all of this?
That's what they came
That's what
over
they
here.
came
Yeah.
over.
That's
Yeah.
what they came over, the
Yeah.
very first batch.
yeah. And there is, of course, Thanksgiving has taken many forms over the years, and it actually, in Europe, it was religious holiday, celebrating, so it had a religious background to it, and of course now it has become more of I don't know, just a custom as opposed to anything religious behind it. And there was some talk, I think, that they might have had the first Thanksgiving down in Florida with the Spanish coming in there, but there's a lot of questions as to who really celebrated the first
Well,
Thanksgiving.
Columbus isn't really the discoverer of America now, they say.
Yeah,
So who knows where they first.
we had the Vikings, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that true?
That's true. I saw
Yeah.
that on Netflix.
Did you see it on Netflix? Okay. Well, see, I'm reading this off the internet, so God knows where this originates with. So hopefully, I'm not spreading.
Well, if it's
False
on the
stuff
internet,
here,
it's got to
but
be true.
It's
Oh,
gotta
yeah.
be true. It's gotta be true. But they another thing, and it wasn't in this particular article, but they were talking about the number of calories consumed by the average American on Thanksgiving Day,
Yeah.
and it was roughly between 3,500 and 4,000
Oh, my.
calories. Now the average, the average male, and females even less, but average male is supposed to consume an average of 2,000 calories a
A
day
day.
to make
Is
it.
that all?
So basically, you're getting 2 days worth of food
Yeah.
It feels like
on Thanksgiving, and no wonder you get tired.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Maybe it's the tryptophan or whatever it is in the turkey, but that's why I have to take a nap in the
Yeah.
afternoon after eating all that. But
What's
you,
my reason? I don't eat all that, and I still have to take a nap.
you still have to take. Well, that may be age related for some,
Oh.
possibly.
One of the things after Thanksgiving, because there's usually always turkey left over, and people wonder, well, what should we do with it? And there are a gazillion things you could do. You could make turkey salad for sandwiches, grind it up and put whatever you want in it, or turkey tetrazzini. You could
Yeah.
make
Yeah.
turkey croquettes.
We make
Oh, I love
pies,
those.
turkey
Turkey
pies.
pie.
Turkey pies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could, cut it up and put it in the gravy and serve it over mashed potato.
Yeah. That's my Stephen's favorite meal, to do hot turkey sandwiches on a slice of homemade bread, toasted, and he always wanted French fries. but that was his
French fries.
favorite leftover meal. I don't know why I ever started doing French fries, but I don't know why.
I do,
But
because Stephen wanted them.
well, probably, and I don't know how we happened to think of it, but that's what he always wanted, was hot turkey sandwiches and French fries.
If I were to ask you,
Me?
yes, I'll start with you. What's the thing you're most thankful for this Thanksgiving?
I'm definitely most thankful for my family, but my granddaughter Audrey.
Hmm?
Yep, she's means the world to me, and
Yeah.
she's made all of the holidays just so special. I mean, even when Chris was speaking of Christmas, you know, one of the things, Bumpy, don't hang any, because she knows that that's one of my holidays for decorating, and I do hold off till after the day after Thanksgiving, but I'm right out there cutting my tree down that day. I do have some single candles in my window, but I think Donna leaves hers up all
Mine
year.
are on all year, yeah.
All right, well that's fair.
All right, but
And mine are just white, they're not.
Yeah, I know you leave yours
Yeah.
up all year.
she is an avid believer in Santa Claus. She's 10, and it's just so magical with her. And I gotta say, when she was little, my fondest memory of the Thanksgiving, the holiday, the Christmas would be, I had gotten a remote controller for the entire house for the Christmas lights. And we had all of the shrubbery was all wrapped. We had the trees wrapped out front, all the candles in the window. And I pulled into the yard, and she had no idea. And I used to kind of make her think that she was magic. Like, I could time it when we came to a stoplight, and I'm like, Audrey, you want to switch that light over for me? I hate waiting. And she'd go like that, and the light would turn, because I kind of would time it when it was going to happen. So one day we were coming, it was jet black, it was close to the holiday or whatever, and I had said to her, I said, oh my gosh, I have so much to do. I said, I've got to put all the lights on the house and everything. Do you think you could do a little Christmas magic for me? And she goes, what do you mean, Bumpy? I go, you know, how you do with the lights. And she was like, well, I can try. I mean, she was probably 4. And she went like that, and I had the remote in the truck. And I hit that thing, and the house went
Oh,
boom.
that was exciting.
and her little head was just spinning with, and see what I did. So, yeah, she's something. She's that's what I'm thankful for,
Yeah.
I think.
That's nice.
That's very nice.
Donna?
I'm thankful for family, friends, health. I've had a very blessed life, and for that I'm very thankful.
Well, mine's kind of ditto, really, to Donna's. I mean, really, I'm thankful for the opportunity to have a chance to get together with family and friends over the holidays, and I'm thankful I got a mother who's still living. She's 92
Yes,
years
yeah,
old.
amazing.
yeah.
She's in a nursing home, but overall in fairly good health, and so I feel very thankful for that. And I have a wonderful life, and I have a nice life, and I'm thankful for those things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm thankful for all the things that everyone has said, but also that we live in America, and we're very, very fortunate, even though everything doesn't go the way we want it to.
Yeah. I'm thinking I'm with Bev. We are very lucky, and I don't think most people understand how grateful we can be that when I've started doing that in the morning. I read it somewhere, so I started doing it. And when I wake up, I think of 3 things that I'm grateful for. Well, it sets your whole mood.
Yeah.
Imagine.
Because
Yeah. Oh.
you can list
Yeah.
easily 3 things
Sure.
Oh,
that
absolutely.
you're grateful for.
Absolutely.
Think of people that don't have any of that. They don't wake up in a warm bed, and they don't wake up where they feel safe and with food in the refrigerator out there to go get breakfast with. So
When I drive into my garage, especially in the winter, I swear it's almost every time I say, thank you, Lord, that I have a safe place, that my car is inside, but
yeah.
that I have food on my table, that I have people that love me, that
Mhm.
I'm warm. We take it for granted.
And we do.
Yeah.
We
Yeah, we
don't
do.
think about it as often as we should.
Yeah.
But in
Absolutely.
Farmington, I didn't have a garage. so I have a garage here.
Even though
Although
you
my
back
kids,
through the
Peter
door
always
once in a
cleaned it
while.
off, but what, Bev, I'm
I've heard-
sorry.
I've heard that story.
Even though you back through the door once in a while.
Yeah, only once though.
Oh, I went right through the back of my
Well,
garage.
Well,
You
she was
kidding me?
she was thankful that she had a door to back through.
That's
There
right.
you go. Now that's positive.
Oh, I want to talk about, and if I talk too much, but two Thanksgivings that I particularly remember, and one we had just adopted my grandson. He was 3 years old, and for several years, probably 5 or 6, my daughter-in-law's parents own a camp in Alder Stream, where there's no running water, there's no electricity, there's nothing. You're just shut off.
It's
So
off
they
the
have-
grid.
They have, it
Yeah.
is definitely off the grid, and they have had a gas stove, but anyway, we cooked everything, and we sat down to eat, and this little boy that hadn't been in our life very long, we were serving the dinner, and well, what kind of a Thanksgiving if you don't have any corn? And it was just, I mean, it was out of the blue. Why on Thanksgiving is there's no corn? Fortunately, Grammy Sharon had a can of corn, so we opened it immediately and put it on the table. But that always sticks out because it was one of the very first Thanksgivings that we had him. And I remember there was quite a lot of snow, and we built, we didn't build a snowman, we built this long, we called it a caterpillar, but we built a long, never a picture of him riding on it, but it was a long snowman, long snow caterpillar. And then the other one, Peter's sister and husband, and if I say the name Paula Dowdy, you may recognize it. But Jean and Jim ran the Capricorn,
Oh yes.
and so for a couple of years we had Thanksgiving up there. And Jim Dowdy's mother was very proper and was absolutely a lady of years ago. And she had run the Soames Hotel, her family had in Soamesville. And we sat down to eat, and I invited the chef to sit and eat with us. Oh my God, Nanny Parker was so offended and upset to think that I had invited a servant to sit down and eat with us.
Servant.
Oh my God, she had a fit. But that Thanksgiving sticks out in my mind as well, because I definitely made a faux pas. But we've had a lot of wonderful Thanksgivings in different settings, actually. Peter's mother for years there were 21 of us, and it worked well because I was an only child, and this was actually after my dad died. So my mother was there. Mary's mother came occasionally because Jim was an only child, so Mrs. Parker came, but had lovely Thanksgivings in my memory.
Mm.
I think the nicest Thanksgivings is when someone pops in that didn't have a place to go.
Yeah.
I remember we had a friend who was pregnant and she was far from her home and she was working at the Sentinel. And I said, come on up, we're just gonna sit and eat. Well, she was so pleased. You don't know
Mhm.
what you've done when you've
Yeah,
given somebody a place to go
Well,
when
I
they
think it'd
didn't.
be pretty lonely on Thanksgiving
Yeah.
not to have a place to go. I know my son Sterling's in the service, and he's always telling me that oftentimes, you know, whoever's the head at whatever place he's at will invite some of them from away, and they'll have 10 or 15 of the folks from the Air Force that will show up,
yeah.
Yeah,
you know, and
Yeah.
you tell us what a wonderful time you had. And so for a parent, it makes me feel a lot better knowing that he's able to be with a family,
somebody,
you know.
yeah.
You know what's real nice is, you know, you have these community Thanksgivings now where
Yes.
you get together,
Yeah.
whether it be in a
Yeah.
church setting or otherwise, that they offer, you know, free Thanksgiving dinners to people.
At the community center in Skowhegan, they're doing that. on
Yeah,
Thanksgiving Day.
that's right. They've been doing that for a while, and
Yeah.
I know over at Somerset Fitness, they have on the door asking for people to contribute to turkeys for needy families and so forth. So
Where is this?
at the at
Somerset.
Somerset Sports and Fitness
Oh,
in
really?
Skowhegan, yeah. So they do that. So there's a lot of it's really a giving time, and I've always thought that you know I've always had the family Thanksgiving, but maybe some year it'd be kind of nice to participate.
The
in-
Federated
in-
Church does that, they coordinate.
Yeah.
With,
it-
I'm sure with the
it-
fitness center,
I
cause
would
they
think
do
that-
like 50-something
Well, with
baskets,
the
it's
Rotary
huge.
and the Lions
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
town, they,
Yeah, I would think that'd be a very rewarding experience to do something like that.
And it's good because it's all funneled into one clearinghouse as such,
Right.
so
Yeah.
the
But
coordination is
I've been very
good.
fortunate to have family and a place to
Yeah.
go on Thanksgiving, but there are an awful lot of people out there that do not. And so it's very nice that the community really gets together to do things like this.
I often think about little children who apparently don't have enough to eat and how devastating it has to be if you have a TV set and you're looking at all of the family things and all of the friends and all of the feasts and their life may not be like that, and it's gotta be
Yes, we
very,
just
very
argued.
sad,
Yeah. Now,
very
Yeah.
sad.
well, we're sitting here today, and I think we're all very fortunate in
Yeah.
our own
Very
lives
fortunate.
to have family and have a place to
And
go.
yet, as Jamie said, should give a shout out right now to all the veterans who are
Yes,
stuck in their posts and can't get home.
all
And-
those serving and veterans, yeah.
I read somebody who was talking about being a veteran, and he said the hardest part the best part was getting presents and things from home, but it was also the worst part because it reminded you of what you were missing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So just a reminder.
Oh, absolutely.
So how much longer will he be there?
Sterling will be home for good in July after having
Oh.
served 6 years, so
Has it been that long?
I know time
Mm.
flies so quickly,
Wow.
but 6 years, and I know he's very ready, and
That-
he's got a fiance, Kaylee Smith, that teaches drama and English over at Lawrence, and
Oh, wow.
they're looking forward to setting some roots.
And where is he now?
Seattle, Washington.
He's in Seattle, so
Yeah,
he's safe for the time being.
he is.
Mhm.
He just got back from
Yeah,
Qatar.
you could be in worse places,
Oh,
I
he
guess.
has
been
Yeah.
over there
Well,
then.
Yeah.
Yes, he was at Qatar, I think, for 6 months
Yeah,
overseas.
Caleb
So
was, my
That'd be worse.
grandson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, he was in Qatar and he was in the explosive division. And I just said the other day, talking about being grateful that he's not there now.
Mhm.
yes.
I have a
yes.
friend that's teaching in Oman, she's been there probably about 8 years now, and they come home every summer, and we always have a get-together. There are a group of us that we're real close, so I try to organize a get-together. And I said, how can you stand it there? I said, I wouldn't sleep at all, look at where you are. She said, oh, we're real safe. I said, you gotta open your eyes up.
That's all relative, huh?
My son was telling me that it was so hot there that they had to have aluminum foil in the windows
To keep
Wow.
it
to
on.
keep the
keep it
heat
wow.
out.
Can you imagine?
Yeah. They had those like boxes that they have now.
Yeah,
That's what Caleb and his
That- yeah.
friends, that was their barracks.
and that's where they had to eat.
Yeah.
It was just like a metal storage,
Sure.
like a
Wow.
train box car or something,
Yeah.
and having to take a bicycle to go to get your meal and then bike back, and yeah, the heat by the sounds was just unbearable.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh.
And you go outside into some of the cities and they're magnificent. The money is just so apparent
Wow.
in the bigger cities.
I just wanna say, I've sampled Dal's cookies and they're delicious, so if you've seen me eating, it's either been Dal's cookie or Jamie's rolls. I have one in front of me and I keep taking bites out of it.
I've hardly
I've been
noticed.
nibbling my
I'm gonna try
cookie.
some of Claire's salad
Yeah.
and Donna's pie.
Do we want to identify or give a little bit of a recipe of some of these items? Because Claire made some stuff, and I want to give
Do
her.
we know
I
what's
want to
in
give
that?
her. I will tell you.
Yeah.
I
All
want
right.
to. I
Oh,
want to.
we're
I
gonna
want to. I
tell,
want to
good.
give her full credit.
Absolutely.
For this, okay.
Well, mine's gonna be easier.
This is my wife, Claire. I don't know how to do any of this stuff, okay? And I freely admit it, so I'm going to give all the credit to her. But this is a gel salad, and actually, this is a recipe that my mother made for Thanksgivings over the years, and Claire has kept on the tradition
Nice.
of doing this stuff. And it has one package of raspberry. You're going to remember all this, folks, right? One package of raspberry Jello, 1 can whole cranberry sauce, 1 small can crushed pineapple, 3/4 cup of nuts, walnuts or pecans or pecans, 2 cups hot water. Dissolve Jello in hot water, add remaining ingredients, put into bowl, refrigerate 4 to 6 hours until set. Serve with whipped
Sounds
cream
delicious.
if desired.
Wow.
Yeah.
And here it is, folks, and it's really nice.
Well, you know
pretty.
something, that pineapple mixed with the cranberry sounds good,
It
doesn't it?
really
Yeah.
does, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Doesn't it?
Like a
That's-
very light.
Yeah.
And the nuts, yeah.
That'd be a great summer meal even. It's like a
Yeah,
summer treat.
yeah,
Very light.
Yeah. Anyone else want to give out some recipes?
Well, she did. Mine's very easy. This is called the Bankery Special.
Did you really?
Yes, I went to the bakery. And I got molasses cookies, which is very apropos, I thought, for Thanksgiving.
I love it.
And pumpkin with white
Macadamia.
macadamia
Yeah.
and chocolate. That must be good because Bev and Donna couldn't leave it alone.
See, I thought I
I nailed it.
recognized
It was
those
delicious.
cookies, and now I
And Donna, you brought the pie.
It's just a pumpkin pie. It's got, this recipe has, you use the carnation,
Evaporated milk.
no,
Condensed.
sweetened condensed milk,
Oh,
thank you.
really?
And it's got molasses in it. It's got spice, pie spice. It's got a little bit of flour
Oh, you
and
made it from scratch then.
molasses. Yeah, I think I got a little heavy on the molasses, and because I made my own pie crust, but I had made a couple of crusts earlier and froze them, so it kind of isn't as pretty as a regular freshly made crust, but.
I love
And
how
I
it looks
made
in
it-
the tin.
I made it in this old tin that I never ever use, but because I was going to freeze them, I made 2 of them actually. So I thought I'd use this old tin that's been around for
It looks
God
old.
knows how long or where it came from, who knows. And the pie crust, I use the pie crust that has vinegar and an egg in it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's the best
And
pastry recipe.
it has Crisco and it has butter, a little bit of sugar, and obviously flour, and
Ah, I never heard
it
of it.
has an egg and a tablespoon, 1 egg, tablespoon of vinegar, and half a cup. I put in a little more than half a cup of water, and the recipe makes enough for 2 full pie crusts.
I'll have to talk to you about that.
Donna makes great pie crust.
I don't.
In one summer.
Oh God, she's gonna tell a story.
Oh, great.
One summer, our friend Alice Jump had made a pie, and Donna's eating a piece of it, and she goes, "Oh, Alice, this pie crust is wonderful. How do you make it?" And Alice said, "Mrs. Pillsbury." Donna didn't eat any more after that.
I finished the pie.
Yeah, that page.
Alice makes every year, and it was Peter's favorite. They have on their land black raspberries. Oh, that was his
Oh.
favorite pie. It was so
Yeah.
good.
Well, it's not that I can't cook, folks, really. I'm a pretty good cook, but I had a really full weekend, so that's what we got.
And those are darn good, by the
Yes,
way.
Yeah,
they
are.
Yeah,
They
and
are.
Give credit to Darla and the Bankery.
Yeah. I probably
Besides,
would have
they
said,
like
Darla, your cookies are just like the Bankery's.
And Bev, I don't know if you cooked the turkey or if you. Wait.
Hannaford's cooked the turkey.
Okay.
Okay.
Ah, see?
Oh.
Ah.
Well, I called Donna up. I read my email and it said, "Don't forget the food." And I called Donna and I said, "What's this about food?"
Because we initially had talked about Jamie bringing rolls and me bringing a pie, and we didn't. But anyway, so we're all in the
We're
show.
all set. We're gonna
There you
do
go.
it.
We all
Hey,
followed through.
hey, I want to mention another recipe, and I didn't bring it today because I didn't give my wife enough time to do it. But it's something that we have done in our family for a number of years, and it's sweet potato and apple bake.
Mm-hmm.
And just briefly, here's a recipe for that. 3 pounds of sweet potatoes, peeled sweet potatoes. 1 3/4 pounds of tart green apples, peel, halve, cored, and so forth. 3/4 cup pure maple syrup. 1/4 cup apple cider.
Mm.
Oh my
1/4
God,
cup
that sounds good.
unsalted butter,
I'm getting
and
a
a little
cavity.
teaspoon of salt, and it is absolutely
How do you say-
wonderful.
Would you please email that to me?
Sure.
All of us, actually. Wow, that
take
was
that.
fast email.
That's out of Bon Appetit, by the way.
I'll
That's
take
who-
this.
Yes.
That really
yes.
sounds
It
good.
does.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
does.
Take a picture of it, Donna.
It
Yeah, no,
lasts
she can
longer.
have it.
Oh.
She can have it. We know how to make it, so she can have that.
Yeah, I make a copy of that.
It is wonderful.
Sounds
Because,
delicious. Do serve
They
it like
maybe
a
have a
full
coffee
salad.
machine
It
here.
was on a baked plate and stuff, and just
Something like
scoop it
the
out.
size of Jamie's,
Something
yeah.
like that. Yeah, yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Huh.
So I have a little bit of a turkey story that I wanted
Oh
to
my
share.
God.
Donna.
Tell them about your raising your turkeys.
Now I wasn't raised on a farm or anything like that. So now that I
But you
have-
are a farmer.
Well, yeah, but it was more of a learned thing, I guess. And I didn't realize, I went for the first time to get turkey poults, and I bought them, and it was in April, and had no idea that normally, I guess, if you want a 20-pound turkey, you don't get them until August.
What are you saying, turkey poult?
Turkey poult, like a little
Little turkeys.
Poult.
little baby,
babies.
turkey
Oh,
chicks.
okay, that's
Poults.
what they're called?
Yeah,
Poults?
poults.
Okay.
didn't
And
know
so I and Donna ended up with one as well, but
They were wonderful.
they were incredible turkeys, but it was the largest turkey that I'd ever seen in my life.
Well, it was so big, turkey couldn't walk.
He was
He fed it so much. I mean, literally. It's like,
the dressed weight on that turkey was 55 pounds.
Oh my God.
And we had to buy an antique roaster. I should have brought that in as well. It
yeah,
was a
you should have. I should
1911.
have reminded you.
And the turkey, it was a broad-breasted bronze, and the turkey had to sit on its side like this, and we had to tinfoil it so it wasn't going to drip all over the stove. We had to take and put the rack on the very bottom, and we had to lift the element on the top of the stove so we could get the turkey
Oh my
in.
God.
And when we took it out, it took up the whole center of the table, and I can remember my father coming in and looking. He goes, "Oh my word! Can't you do anything small?"
How many hours did it take to cook that?
It cooked very quickly. It was a fresh turkey, and it took
Fresh turkeys cook quick.
Yeah,
I
it
don't
took
know
no
why, but they
time
do.
at all, and it was. My daughter calls it tasting like lobster. It was just so juicy and but 55-pound dressed weight.
Well, the year I bought one for me, I think I bought more than one, but because you did it for a couple of
Yeah.
years. But the first one that I got from you, you had to cut in
Cut it in
half.
half because it was so
And the roaster that I have will easily hold a 20-pound turkey. And I don't know, but we had to cut a leg off or something to get it in, and that was just half a turkey. But the flavor was just amazing.
They really were.
Really,
Oh,
really
that's
good.
amazing.
So, for years, my grandmother, we used to go down, it was on the Waterville Road, and I think the name was Salisbury. Bev, you may remember, it was down probably about where the golf course is, in that area. It was on the right-hand side of the road, and they had turkey pens. And we always used to go down there and get a turkey. But I can remember seeing all these pretty turkeys and then feeling bad that we were going to eat one. But
Well, folks, I didn't think we'd have this easy a time filling in a Thanksgiving just free for all. But
Oh, I
what we
did.
did.
Oh,
This
you
was
should have
really,
known with this
really
group.
fun.
There was no problem.
I want to thank everybody for being here. I'm sorry that Katie couldn't make it, but we'll hope she sees it. Does she have a TV? We can give her a thing that
She
she can
does.
watch it.
She does.
I'm sure she does.
All right, so we're probably did want to eat in your face, I guess, so we'll end up eating after we turn the cameras off and we'll.
I've
Have-
been eating your face all period.
Hey, let me.
You can
let-
tell she's a school teacher, all period.
yeah. Let me mention the next show. Okay, now we're doing the Thanksgiving show. The
Yeah.
next
Okay.
show
Right.
is the Christmas show, and we're going to record that at Reddington Home on December 4th at Barbie Demo, as has been our tradition in recent years, is going to lead us in music with the residents
Nice.
there, and you get to see all the decorated trees that they have, and it should be a real fun time. So
And what
that's
time?
well,
2
it'll
o'clock.
our filming is going to be 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
You won't see it until the next time you come
the
on.
following weekend. Yep.
Yeah, the
So-
Reddington home for the last 5 years, maybe more, different organizations have come in and decorated trees. So there are a lot of nice
Lot
trees
of
there to
fun
be
to look
seen,
at.
and I know in the past, John has gone around and taken pictures of them.
And done a great job.
So that'll
Done a great
probably
job.
happen
I-
again as
That's
well.
John Hollow we're talking about,
Yeah.
who runs this place.
Yep. I just wanted to talk about coming attractions. So that's
All
what we
right.
got. And by the way, we'll acknowledge Hunter too, because he's our
Yes,
Oh, I
he
he's
does
our
a
hear
great
cameraman.
job.
I
Okay.
said Hunter the videographer, but I didn't know your last name, so happy Thanksgiving, everyone. We'll
Happy
see you
Thanksgiving.
Happy
next
Thanksgiving.
time.